Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Breaking Bells. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Bells. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest mayor in all of Animal Crossing, Mr. Josh Thomas.
Bobby, are you speaking of me?
Oh my God. What is up, Josh? How you doing, sir?
Bobby, I am ready to move to a deserted tropical island.
I can see this.
And work for my Lord and Savior, Thomas Nook.
Is this what you did all day? Like waiting, prepping? This was your prep for
No,
the show?
Bobby, genius comes natural to me.
Is it okay?
But what did I do today? I did nothing today so far.
That wouldn't shock me at all. That would not shock me at all, in the least.
I'm a night owl.
Well,
I'm like Blathers.
This is very true. This is very true.
I'm like Blathers.
Every time you do live streams on YouTube, it's like super late at night, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy.
Well, I do it for my British friends across the pond.
I'm sure they love it. For those that live under a gigantic, enormous rock and don't know who you are, please let people know what you do on the internet and all that stuff.
Well, for 13 years, I've run a Nintendo channel on YouTube, which is exciting and depressing at the same time. And I love Animal Crossing, and, I've done a lot of video journals, probably hundreds of them, for the games, and, just a big fan of Nintendo, and I have a YouTube channel for it.
This is very true. This is very true. The BitBlock is his YouTube channel.
Oh, right. I probably should have name dropped that.
You probably should have at some point.
Changes every week, so I forgot what we're at.
This is true. This is true. I'm glad it's the BitBlock, though, because that's what I know you as. That's how
we're
I
keeping
was
it at that.
Yeah.
Keeping it.
So, for those, I got turned on to you when you were doing the the Dream Diaries. I found you doing the Dream Diaries era, and I told you this before. I loved them. I thought they were fantastic. I thought you did such a great job of going to different towns and doing these comedical things, and just the way your voices you would do, and the acting kind of and all that stuff. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But then I think you really, in the Animal Crossing world, you really exploded with the make-believe stuff. And I think that was huge.
So the Dream Diaries were, of course, the Dream Suite in New Leaf, where you could go to other people's towns. I thought that was just such a treasure trove of potential content to just go off and make videos exclusively about just going to someone's town and kind of reacting to the way that they set it up. And then the make-believe stuff is I modeled and animated and textured and came up with all my own Animal Crossing concepts for, a pretend game. And it was just a lot of fun to do. And I did I think two and a half of those. Yeah,
because you did the one that was just straight Animal Crossing. Then you did the one that was part of the E3, right?
I did one that was just the very first one was Animal Crossing on the Wii U. That'll show you how long ago this was. Yes. There was still hope for Animal Crossing on the Wii U.
This is how long we were hoping for this thing.
And then I did one talking about a fishing shop concept and really talked a lot about different fishing stuff. Some of the ideas that I posed are actually in New Horizons. Just want to point that out. I don't think they stole them from me, but great minds think alike.
This is true.
And then I did another one where I just kind of showed concept sketches because I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish it. But yeah, I've thrown a lot of ideas out there for Animal Crossing for the fun of it.
Okay, so let's start the show like we typically do with 3 questions that we begin every episode with. First off, what was the first Animal Crossing game that you played?
The first one was the GameCube one back in the day. I even remember anticipating its release, and I was very excited. I wish I could say the N64 was my first one, because that would be oh, I'm so cool. I was playing before it was even allowed to be played in America. But no, it was the GameCube one, right at the release.
How did you find out about it? What was the way that you
Well, you see, kids, you might not know this, but back in the day, there was this website called IGN, and it was a gaming website. And it was pretty much the place you would go if you wanted to learn about video games. Nowadays, I don't think it exists because of things like YouTube. But I went to IGN, and they were the place to go for videos and articles and screenshots about games coming out. Yes. So I learned about it through IGN. I remember. I even distinctly remember the video that I first saw. It was like a winter town, and they went into the museum, and I was just like, oh, this looks pretty cool.
It was pretty. So do you remember watching any of the creepy commercials, or was that?
Yeah, I remember I hated those commercials.
They were weird.
They're so dated now because kids wouldn't know they're referencing Real World, I believe it was, on MTV, where they'd get strangers to live together in a house. And so they did like a parody of that with Animal Crossing characters. Most people under the age of 20 probably wouldn't even understand what that's a parody of anymore.
Exactly. This is true.
But yeah, I do remember those commercials.
So, okay, before we hit the next question, I'm just curious. So you played the original. I assume you played Wild World. I know you played City Folk.
Yeah.
And then New Leaf, obviously.
Bit of a random fact, though. Wild World, I got Wild World early for free from IGN because they had like a contest going on their message boards. I can't remember what the contest was. I think it was like to make fan art or something, and I ended up getting a copy from IGN.
That's amazing.
Which shows that I probably shouldn't be making fun of them like I was 5 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Saying they're antiquated.
They hook you up and you're just like, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so of all the Animal Crossing games, what is your favorite Animal Crossing game?
I think it's a hard question to answer because there's only one Animal Crossing game I don't like anymore. But the one that I'll mention that after. Okay. Yeah, I saw that little.
I was like, yeah, I got to know which one this is.
My favorite would be New Leaf. I think it's hard for me not to say New Leaf because it just added so much. There's so many little details. There's so many big things. They just really tried so hard with New Leaf to make it fresh and exciting again. So I feel like I got to say New Leaf. But I would also give credit to the GameCube game because I feel like it hasn't been it's not obsolete. Mm-hmm. Some games, like the newer versions, will make the old one obsolete. Yeah. But I do feel like there's just something so charming about that original GameCube game that I have a lot of fun going back to it still. It does feel like its own thing. But if I'm being real, New Leaf is definitely a better game, in my opinion. But yeah.
Okay, so which is the one that you don't like?
So I don't know how many of you played it recently, but Wild World has not aged well.
Oh, it's so bad.
I mean, from almost every perspective, the audio is really bad on the DS. The graphics are obviously terrible. But aside from that, there's like no holidays. They removed the holidays. Yes. You can only have 2 people in a building at once. Yep. So if you and your friends want to go hang out in your house, good luck with that. You can't do that. And the animals would go in their homes when you were playing online. So you couldn't organically have the animals interacting with your friends. You'd have to go in the house. Yeah. So there's a lot of limitations about that game that I think people maybe don't necessarily remember. One of the things that I kind of hate is Wild World. Your village is mostly dirt. It's like there's little patches of grass or snow and the rest is dirt, which is like the opposite of how I feel it should be designed. So, Wild World did add a lot of important things to the franchise with like pushing forward the customization of characters, introducing some really cool new characters. But other than that, I think it's the one that just hasn't aged as well and I can't go back to it.
I understand completely. Like I'm on board big time with that. And the weird thing to me was, I guess when you went from the original one where it felt kind of like Zelda, like the top-down Zelda, then you went to like the log, like it felt like you were on a log. It just felt so weird. It threw me off for a while. It wasn't until City Folk got announced that I was like, okay, I'm on board. Let me go back and play this because there was the carryover feature where you could carry over some of your items. Yeah. But other than that, yeah.
Well, City Folk still has the log, and I think New Leaf does as well, but it's not quite as prominent as Wild World.
Exactly.
I think the reason for them doing the log was because Wild World was the first online Animal Crossing. And I think they were probably they're probably thinking in terms of you need to be able to see your friends when they're not right next to you. Yeah. And in the GameCube, you've got like a little square of being able to see where people are. So they probably wanted to find ways to make that work. And, panning the camera out on the DS means you have to load that much more at a time. So I think it's probably a solution to being able to see where your friends are a little more easier. But yeah, I was kind of for it at first, and then I eventually got to the point where I was like, okay, let's move past this.
In Animal Crossing, what would be your most fondest memory of playing Animal Crossing?
Oh, God. This is an evil one, but I'll just go with it. In the GameCube days, me and my cousin would play it. and he would come over and he'd show me his village, and I would show him mine. And there'd be times where like my other cousins would come over, and we were really close, and we'd play together all the time in like the summer, and they'd go out like swimming, and I'd be like, oh, I'll be out in a little bit, I gotta change into my shorts, and I'd go into his town and I'd just chop everything down.
No.
And he wait, he would do the same to me. So it was like this is back and forth of let's destroy each other's towns.
Yeah.
And we were always like, oh, but we secretly sort of liked it, because it was like, well, gotta get back to work, gotta fix all this damage. It was like part of the game for us of like fixing the damage we'd cause from each other and trying to be sneaky. So that's a fond memory of yeah.
Oh my god!
Now you know why there's a gate and a train.
Yeah, exactly. They've changed a lot of stuff. Yeah, keep people like you out. So we are 49 days from New Horizons. This is when the newest Animal Crossing game, I think the game that we've been waiting a very long time to hit, finally hits. What is something that hasn't been confirmed to return in New Horizons that you really want?
To return, or just totally new? You want return?
I want return. Something that happened in a previous game that you liked, but it just hasn't been confirmed and you're hoping is there.
I'm going to be very broad with this, but holidays. They haven't shown any of the holiday characters, haven't really talked about it. They did remove them in Wild World. I'm sure they're in the game, but I'm a very paranoid person, so I need the holidays. I thought it was so fun what they did in New Leaf. Like, New Leaf kind of pushed the holidays a little more, more stuff to do. You guys, you know me, Bobby. I'm really big into holidays.
Yeah.
You've seen my house around Halloween or Christmas. So Animal Crossing is always like a part of that for me. And so I really can't wait until they show us what's going down with Halloween and Toy Day. And Zipper T Bunny. Yes. I hope he doesn't find his way to the island.
He is creepy. So here's a question for you. Because you referenced, I watched your video this morning that you put out yesterday, I guess, or this morning, whatever, where you were talking about the new Switch that got released. So you were talking about the back plate. And one thing that you talked about was you thought there was a potential of possibly...
I'm wrong on this, though.
Are you?
Yeah. Are you talking about that there'd be a new holiday character?
Or not a new holiday character, but you thought it could be Jingle.
I think it's actually, I'm an idiot. It's one of the anteaters, but on its side.
Okay.
It looked like it could be Jingle, like holding a sack, but it was the anteater's tail that was the sack. Yeah.
But I still want to play off of that because we've seen redesigns of certain characters, like Chip to some degree. We know is new.
CJ.
We know it's not. CJ. We know it's not Chip. We assume it's his son or whatever, or some character like that. Do you think that we're going to get redesigns on any of the holiday characters?
I mean, I didn't until I thought that was like a different reindeer type character. I think I would kind of be open to it as long. I'd have to see it first. I mean, it's a little hard because those are such iconic characters. It's almost like, let's make a Mario game without Bowser or Luigi in a way.
True.
You know, you kind of want that. So like if Jack wasn't in this game around Halloween and had something different to replace him, part of me might be a little bummed by that. But if they have like maybe some additional characters, maybe there's 2 holiday characters or something they find out, I think I'd be in favor of that. I mean, it could be pretty cool. Like a bat or something.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Mr. Nintendo Talk here in the chat just said, that guy, he said that sailboat though. You pointed that out today, and do you think that? I mean, it would be.
I believe that you probably will be able to go out in a boat in this game and maybe fish or do the scuba diving, jumping off the boat and stuff like that. I mean, you're on an island surrounded by water. Yeah. I feel like from a development standpoint, you've got to play around with that. Because otherwise, it's like, what's the point of it even being an island, really? Yeah, you know, like it could have just been a town that was run down that you had to fix. So I think you got to play up the island part. And I mean, there is a sailboat in the artwork. There's a big whale tail in the artwork and stuff.
That's true.
So yeah, I would be all in favor of that. I think it'd be really, really neat. And Cap'n does not drive a sailboat. Maybe he does now, but in the past he'd had like a motorized boat or a little rowboat.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got a sailboat now. I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, I think we might see Cap'n flying that plane. Like
no, the Dodo flies the plane.
No, the Dodo works at that place. I think Cap'n's gonna be one bringing you in.
No, it's the Dodo. The Dodo's the flight guy. He's the dude, the pilot.
You hope so. You hope that's what it is. Do you think we'll see Tortimer?
Well, I attended his funeral last week, Bobby, so this is incredibly offensive. Maybe in another life we'll see him, but not in this one.
Really?
He's gone.
You think he's done?
No, I think he'll probably be there in some way, in some capacity. Maybe a little.
We're on an island, right? Mm-hmm. And in New Leaf, we went to Tortimer's Island. Like, do you feel like we go to an island that's our own? Or do you feel like this is basically, we're here and that's it? Like,
I think there are probably going to be a lot of islands. There are, well, maybe not a lot, but there are suggestions that there are. Yeah. On the very box art, we can see Harvey is on an island separate from your own.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it connects off of the box art, like somewhere, but I don't see that being a thing.
Yeah,
because there's a dock.
He's off to the side. Yeah, you're right. There's a dock, and he's.
Why would there be a dock if it's connected to your island?
Yeah.
I mean, that right there confirms there are other islands you can go off to.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the back of the artwork for the Nintendo Switch for New Horizons, if you look at the back, they designed it in a way to where it seems as if it's like segmented islands. You got the water, and then you have a little island here, little island. So I think there's probably going to be more things you can go off and do. Yeah,
it'd be pretty cool.
I'd hope.
It would be pretty cool. All right, let's stop here. Put a pin in where we're at the moment.
Okay.
Did you buy the Nintendo Switch?
I did in 2017.
No. You know what I mean. Did you buy the collector's edition?
I didn't yet. I'm probably going to. I think I'm going to.
What are you waiting for?
A friend of mine wants a Switch really bad because she wants to play Animal Crossing. So I might just give her mine cheap and then get a new one.
Give her mine cheap.
Give her mine cheap. Not made of money, Bobby.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. It's just really cool. It'd be such a cool thing to have out for like the summer season. Well, tropical. I'm going to eat it, so I'll have to buy a couple of them. I just want to eat that. It looks like ice cream.
It's pretty awesome. It's I think of all the Nintendo Switches that have been released, this is my favorite special edition. Like, I think they did such a good job with this one.
I mean, it feels like the one they tried the most at, like, to make it look different. I mean, the Smash Brothers one was, like, just the back decal, which I don't even see the back decal because I don't play the Switch in handheld mode.
Yeah.
Even if you did, you don't see the back of your own system.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? Look in a mirror? Are you going to play it in a mirror so you can... So, so that's why I like that the dock is actually stylized and it's a different color and the Joy-Cons and all that. It looks really cool. So I'll probably end up getting it because I'm a maniac.
The one thing that I heard last night, I was listening to Nintendo Dads today, and Pat was on there, and I agreed.
That Justin guy, God, he gets me going.
The one thing I agree with what Pat said was, I wish the whole Switch itself was white. Like it's like they had this white with it, and then they just went so far and stopped. And it would have been nice to have that back plate on the actual Switch itself.
I think maybe one of the reasons for that is they'd have to come up with they probably only have the what would you call it? I guess material to make a black one because those are all made in a mold.
Yeah.
Cast out of a mold, so they might not want to make the effort to make a white mold out of that stuff. Lazy would be my guess, but yeah, I agree. It would probably be better as a white one. I want a white Switch and pure white. I want white glossy Joy-Cons.
I know. Well, I mean, you can buy them from
but not official.
Well, from Colorware. Colorware will paint it for you. They do a good job.
Glossy?
Yeah. I got this Pro Controller here that I got from them.
It just seems like a lot of work
that they did for me, and it's nice, man. They'll
matches your microphone.
Exactly. That's why. Thank you. See?
Is that on purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I got the microphone afterwards, but there was a time when I was trying to get everything to be red and black. So
I see.
Digital or physical? How will you play this
game? Majority of my Switch games are digital. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to probably say digital.
Okay.
I hate the process of swapping out a game.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. I have DVDs of Frasier, which I have to watch now because they took it off of Netflix. I know everybody watching this right now is like, when are they going to talk about Frasier being removed from Netflix? We're doing it now. So now that they removed it from Netflix, I can't just easily access it digitally. I got to put DVDs in like it's, the Stone Age here. So yeah, I'm not going to buy it physical. Although I do love the idea of having a physical, cartridge.
That's what I was going to say. Like for this game, you're not going to buy it physical? Like, I would think that you would, at least for this game.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Do you? I mean, you have some Animal Crossing merch, right?
I have this. This is really cool.
Oh, check that out.
It's the Japanese version of Animal Crossing. I love the boxes in Japan because look, they got the
look at that. It's a
little
sleeve. That's
little,
nice.
Neat little thing going on there.
That's
so yeah,
awesome.
part of me does want that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Too much crap. I got too much crap going on anyways in my house.
Yeah, like that.
Just
like that painting bit on you. But anyway.
That's a wall. That's not a painting. That's the whole wall.
Oh, Jesus.
People often think that's a poster. That's the wall. That's got to be covered up because it's not summer. That's a sin right now.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing.
I got to figure out how to cover it up until May 1st.
Okay. Will we get an Animal Crossing themed direct?
100% yes.
You think so?
It's coming February 8th.
You sure about that? What makes you think that?
Well, here's my prediction. Okay. I don't know if you've seen, but on February 8th, you'll be able to pre-purchase Animal Crossing New Horizons on your Switch, which means that precious, precious thing will be sitting there on your Switch, downloaded, ready to go, but you won't be able to play it for over a month?
I know.
Yeah, that's painful.
I know.
So my prediction is, though, the reason they did that is because that's probably going to be when the Direct happens.
Okay.
And in the Direct, they'll say, and you can download it now, pre-purchase it now, or whatever. Just seems like that's probably when they will announce that. Like, obviously, they announced it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that's probably something they... How weird would it be if we owned the game, but we barely know anything about it because there's never even been a Direct or an overview trailer or anything?
That's the weird thing with this game. Like, okay, this is the weird thing that I feel with Nintendo in this particular game situation. When we got Breath of the Wild, when we got Odyssey, like, they bombarded us with information about those games. Like, it was, like, to the point where it was like, okay, stop. Please go away. Stop showing me stuff about these games. This game, they're not showing anything.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like everything is a secret with this game.
Yeah, it's funny because I looked into it, though, and it was a pretty similar story with New Leaf. New Leaf, we got the Direct. I think it was October 5th, and the game came out in Japan November 18th, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's about 5 weeks before the game launched in Japan. So it's looking like they might be trying that strategy again, to where about 5 weeks before the game launches, we get a big Direct. I imagine they'll have all the developers sitting around and talking about things. And if they don't, man, that is unbelievably messed up because every time Sakurai sneezes, we get a Direct. But with Animal Crossing, we can't learn about something other than putting twigs together to make a piece of furniture. Like, we need to learn a little bit more about this stuff.
I think that's the thing that has me a little excited but nervous with this game is I'm not sure, like, do we just build everything or are there, like, at what point do we start buying stuff? And that's the stuff that I want to learn about, like, where do the stores come into play? When do they come into play? When do I continue just to make an axe with a stone and a stick? Or can I get like a gold axe or a silver axe? Or like, how does that stuff come into play? And that's kind of what's got me very curious about this game is to find out what all there is in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, they have like said there are shops in the game. They have said, a lot of the questions we have are kind of answered, but not in any kind of legit way. It's always just like some sentence in an interview or something like that. And it's like almost definitely getting to the point. I mean, Animal Crossing is literally one of Nintendo's biggest franchises at this point. I love pointing this out. New Leaf on the 3DS outsold Smash Brothers on the 3DS.
Wow. And
New Leaf on the 3DS outsold Smash Brothers on the Wii U as well. So it's, based on previous data, it actually was a bigger seller than Smash Brothers. I'm going to make a big prediction right here on your show now, Bobby.
Go ahead.
Animal Crossing New Horizons in 1 year will have sold more copies than Smash Brothers Ultimate did in 1 year.
You think so?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a bold. I mean, it's a bold statement. It is a bold statement, but I mean, it's very possible too.
Smash Brothers is for losers. Animal Crossing is for cool people. Hey, playing some Animal Crossing.
Here we go.
Jeez, Lord, I thought I turned my phone off.
What are you doing over here?
Very professional.
Hopefully
Bobby.
it's somebody good that's texting or calling over there.
It was a woman.
Okay, well, that's good then. That's good. So to kind of coming off of that, like, how do you feel stores in the museum work in this game? Like,
I think that you're going to just build them, and I think you'll be able to decide where they go. I think there's a possibility there might be another island that is used as maybe like an island where you go to the shops.
Okay.
So that it's not in your town.
Okay.
Maybe you fly off to a different island, or you rowboat or whatever. Or maybe you have the option to just build them in your town if you like that. I personally like that. I like having the museum in my town and Nook shop in my town, kind of like the GameCube days. Yeah. It's more convenient. It makes your town feel more like a town. I guess it takes up more space, and you don't have as much space to build your own stuff. But I don't know. You can always build like around the museum to do things or whatever. And like I said, maybe it's an option.
Because I think we're at a situation of it could be one of two things. It could be similar to New Leaf, or like you said, you go to a little island that has everything, or it could be like the GameCube version where it's sporadic. Like that was the thing. Like the things weren't all right on top of each other in the GameCube version.
Yeah, which is kind of better, I feel.
Because it kind of makes you feel like there's reasons to go to certain parts of the island or the town, where, you know, in New Leaf, it was kind of like set the way it was set, and you either went to the top or you went looking. It was kind of like you went to the top or you went to the bottom. There was no real travel around, unless you were looking for fossils. There was no real travel around the map, per se.
Yeah, and I think I understand why they would do it, because it seems on paper that it would be more convenient, you know, to just go into the shopping district. Yeah. But I don't feel like it's more enjoyable to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It's interesting because I'm just curious what exactly, like, what type of game it is in terms of, is there loads screens? Like, will it be like Breath of the Wild, where you just go into a house and it's kind of like the camera follows you in, or do you feel like it's going to be more of that shut off? Well, we know that it's that shut off because of the trailers. Yeah, the
Treehouse Live show that there's a little bit
shuts
of
down and goes off. So if that's the case, then they may need to do something like that to like go to an island to load up them stores, which
sucks a little bit. In City Folk, did you play City Folk?
I hated that.
Going to the city in City Folk required, I believe, 4 loading screens. It was 2 to get there and then 2 to come home. And it was like, man, this is a little excessive.
The only time I liked going to the city in City Folk is the first time. Because they made it feel like it was this grand present. Like, there's music that played. It was cool because there was like a guy selling balloons. And it was like, oh my God, this is something.
His name is Phineas? He has a name, and it's Phineas.
Phineas in New Leaf is not the Phineas of that.
He's the same guy, but he got a different job, Bobby. People get different jobs.
I like this job better.
He went from selling balloons in a dumpy city to being a questionable scoutmaster that gives you badges, okay? I don't know if it's a level up or what's going on.
I don't know what happened right there. That was kind of weird, that whole thing.
Keep an eye on him is all I'm saying.
Exactly. Okay. Tom Nook is still your favorite character, correct?
He's beautiful.
Okay. Animal-wise, like, who's your favorite villager?
You mean species? Like, what's my favorite?
No. Like, who? Like, is there a villager that comes into town and you're like, that's my favorite? I like hanging out with him or her.
I think Joey the duck is pretty cute.
He's pretty cool.
Little classic-looking duck.
Yeah, Joey's pretty cool.
A lot of people say Stitches. Stitches seems to be a favorite.
Yeah, I like Stitches. Yeah.
There is a cat in New Horizons that we've seen. I hate it already. It looks so smug and snotty, little smarmy. If that thing's in my town,
just restart it. Just restart your town.
No. I'm gonna take him out the right way.
What?
Hit him with a shovel and throw him in the ocean.
Exactly. It would be
We're
nice.
Surrounded by.
It'd be nice if you could be like, you go now. Don't even stay. Like, you're voted off the island already.
No. He pops in on the plane. No, get back on it. No, thank you.
Let's back up a little bit. Okay, so you played the GameCube version. Did you do the things in the GameCube version? Like, did you work the lighthouse? Did you do the exercises? Like, did you do all the little weird, quirky things that were in that game?
Yeah, I've done them all multiple times, yeah. You want to know something I've never done in any Animal Crossing game? I've never paid off my debt completely.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm content with living in a nice medium home, and then it's like, I'm good.
Really? I got it. I have. That's my key, man. I gotta have the.
I heard you say this when you're talking to Patrick. How you're like, first thing I get the game, I go to the beach, I get the seashells, You're really big into paying off that loan.
I paid the loan off in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'd have the biggest house there was.
My God,
because
I've never done that.
But see, here's the thing, man. You got. I know you like to decorate.
Yeah. So
would you want the biggest, best house to decorate in?
You'd think so, but no.
Apparently not. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I like the kind of, a little humble. We got enough space. We're good.
I'm gonna go to Josh's town, and there's gonna be the tent just there.
Yeah.
6
2
years
months
later. 6 years later, here's a tent.
Come on over into my house. I'll show you what's going on.
Have you ever? What catalogs have you completed? Like fishing, bugs, all that.
Oh.
Like, do you do that stuff?
I have done that. I don't always do it. I think I did it with New Leaf. I did it with City Folk. The GameCube one, I don't think I did it, but I have probably done it like between several towns, Like I've caught every bug and every fish.
Yeah.
In the GameCube one. But yeah, I think for the most part I do that. I'm not really big on donating the first one I get. A lot of people say that.
Yeah, I do. I typically
do.
Like, yeah.
I'll sell them for money because I need to buy shoes in Animal Crossing. So I need that money for the shoes in Animal Crossing. Although I will say, I don't like pretty much any of the shoes so far in New Horizons. This is like tragic so far. I'm not a fan of like any of the shoes I've seen. This is bad, Bobby.
Only you. Are you kidding
troublesome.
me? That's what you sell.
I'm
fish.
Genuinely worried about this. There's like 2 pairs of shoes that I would wear, but I won't be like happy strutting around the island with them. So there better be the option to put patterns on shoes. I want that so bad.
That would be kind of cool. Although
you can put them on your shirts, right?
Well, hopefully their feet are a little bit bigger than in New Leaf, because the shoes are small, man.
Well, but that's also one of the problems with New Leaf is that you have this screen that is the resolution of a stamp, so you wouldn't have been able to see the detail on the shoes anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I feel like that's something I really want, like being able to put patterns on your shirt or just your top or whatever.
Yeah.
And then also your pants or your shorts, your shoes. I feel like these are things you should be able to do now that it's in HD on a TV screen. You'd be able to see that stuff.
Well, and to be fair, in this particular version, we don't have to use the patterns for paths. Like now we'll actually be able to use the patterns for what they were made for the clothes and stuff. Like did you do that? Did you do paths and stuff in your other versions?
I do pants?
Paths.
Oh, paths.
Walkways.
I did. I see the problems with the pathways, but I also see the benefits of it. Because the benefit is Animal Crossing to me is really a lot about customization. It's about creating your own world, your own characters. That way it's fun to see what other people are doing.
Yes.
And as somebody who's been to over 100 dream towns, I can tell you that is definitely a feature a lot of people like to take advantage of.
Yeah.
So if it's not in the game, I think there will be disappointment.
Yeah.
I do here's the problem with the pathways. They clearly don't look like they belong in the same world as everything else. They're clearly pixelated, messy and chunky, but you can make that work. You can give us little stone slabs that it's applied to so it looks like it's officially in the game.
Yeah.
The patterns don't have to be a pixelated thing anymore.
Yeah.
They can legitimately be us drawing on the touchscreen or whatever.
The thing too is, I think in this one, when you get the trowel and you can make your paths, I think you're going to get to the point where eventually you could do them with stone and stuff. You could make cobble walkway. And I think that's what's going to differentiate this one from previous games. And City Folk was the reason that paths even became a thing. I don't think anybody would have made paths if it wasn't for that grass that deteriorated so fast.
The animal tracks?
Oh my God, it was horrible, dude.
That's what made me hack my Wii. I hacked my Wii so that I could use the homebrew channel to fix my damn grass.
I remember when we first got the Wii, and you're running all over the place to go to the store, and all of a sudden I realized holy crap, the grass is disappearing at a rapid pace. And all this, then when you started to read on it, it was it doesn't come back anywhere near as quickly as it disappears.
Oh, no.
So I went and I put all these paths down just so I could get my grass to grow back. Because it was this is horrible, man.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, if you want to build a snowman in City Folk, you couldn't build a snowman unless you had grass.
Yeah.
Because the snow wouldn't stick to for whatever reason, wouldn't stick to dirt. So it was like, okay, we can't do this.
You make dirt men in City Folk.
Imagine that, right? Yeah. Jesus.
That was in New Leaf. I think they still had those animal tracks in New Leaf, but I think it wasn't near as bad.
It was nowhere near as bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could choose to have the beautiful town ordinance, which means the grass never dies, which is what I went with.
Yeah, so. I did beautiful as well. Main reason was because I hated losing my flowers. Mm-hmm. Like I hated losing, especially like I'd have a lot of hybrids, and it was like these things start dying, and that's just.
Yeah.
And who wants to water all those flowers? Like, it got out.
Well, I have a suggestion for the watering can. Okay. Why do we have to stop and water each square? Why not just be able to, like, press and hold A and walk around with it as you're watering? That'd be so much faster. Yeah. That in real life, you don't stop at every flower. You just kind of walk past it.
You just kind of walk and just water.
Yeah, so just let us walk and water.
What? So you mentioned this early on that, like, there's some things that you suggested that they should do in future games that they kind of are doing it. What are a couple that you saw that are happen?
One of them was I said there should be bait for fishing so that you're not always just looking for a shadow in the water.
Yeah.
Because real fishing, you don't necessarily see the fish.
You don't see fish.
The concept of real fishing is just supposed to be that you're there, you're relaxing, and you're waiting for that surprised moment. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in real life, it takes way long. Yeah. But in a game, just giving us a little bit of that, a little taste of the waiting, and then, got one. I think is really fun. So that's something I suggest, being able to put bait in and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that's in the game. I also said the game should be called Animal Crossing New Horizons. They stole that. I said it should be on a tropical island. They stole that. I said there should be a dodo flying a seaplane. They took that right from underneath me. I mean, it's really a little ridiculous, Bob. My lawyers are looking into it.
I'm sure they are. It would be nice if we can do the fishing tournament. I think you said this before, where you could actually set up fishing tournaments whenever you want.
Yeah.
So when people come over, you could actually do something constructive other than kind of just like running around and.
Yeah, that's something that I really want to see. It's funny, I was talking with a friend about this, like in December or something, and we were talking about how we love Animal Crossing, but with each installment of Animal Crossing, we get a little bit less. What's the word I'm looking for? It gets a little bit harder to ignore not being able to do too many things.
Yeah.
Like in New Horizons, you watch the trailers, it's so cute. Oh, the guy's got a little beach lawn chair out on the beach and he's got his coconut drink. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's so cute to look at. Is that fun though? Because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So while I love that stuff, we need more gameplay. We need more things you can do with your friends. And I think that, like I said, with each installment of Animal Crossing, I become a little bit less okay with that. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what things we can do with our friends online. So
that's the main thing, because in all the games, there was really nothing. I mean, at least in GameCube, they had like the ball, like they had the soccer ball and stuff that you could kick around, so you could kind of create a game within that. And I hope that they do something. At least in New Leaf 2, they did Tortimer's Island, so you could go out there.
Yeah, that was a huge improvement, I felt.
That was massive, man, because you could actually go out there and have fishing tournaments.
Play mini-games, yeah.
Yeah, play mini-games. And they did some really cool games that were just different and fun, So it'd be nice if something like that definitely comes back, because that would be fantastic in my eyes, honestly.
Yeah.
I do remember you saying this, and I'm not sure. I remember hearing you say this, where you talked about you thought there should be a toolbox where you could put all your tools
I guess I just realized, that is an idea that I had that is in the game in a way too.
Yes.
Yeah, I did say that there should be a toolbox for putting like your tools in because they were in the way. So like an extra inventory thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like we kind of do have that because almost every human character render has a backpack or some sort of storage device on them. Yeah. So that's another thing we know about, but they haven't officially told us, but we clearly know it's there.
Yeah. Because it would be nice if, I do like the fact of too, like where they made it where, let's say you have a rock. You could put 2 rocks, 3 rocks. Like they've made it where.
Stacking.
Yes, they stack the items. Because that's, I mean, anybody that's played the game knows that's one of the most frustrating things in the world. Especially like if you are fishing. Like you're fishing and you literally fill up your pockets in seconds. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to be somewhat realistic. But at the same time, it is a video game. Like, let's make let's have some convenience of having a video.
You want to stack the sea bass on top of each other?
Yes, I want to take like 60 sea bass up to the store. Not 10 of them fill my pockets. So.
Well, so I believe a lot of people are like, why don't they just give us like 100 spaces of inventory? I feel like that's too much.
Yeah.
One of the things that's great about Animal Crossing is that sense of depravity in a way. You're depriving yourself of everything being perfect.
Yes.
So you have to think in terms of like, multitasking and managing your items and stuff. But I do like the idea of the backpacks. I do think that the backpacks might be specific for holding specific things.
Yeah.
Because there's like a backpack that says fish and it's like a little cooler or something. Mm-hmm. I hope that really can only be used for fish. I hope that it's not like, oh, whatever it looks like doesn't matter. It's still going to give you the same 10 or 15 inventory spaces. I hope it is like, oh, I got to get my fishing backpack on. I'm going fishing.
Yeah.
I think that would be more fun and more cute. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how they handle those backpacks. If it's not just like a generic extra 15 spots, I think it'd be cool.
How much time did you put into Pocket Camp at all, if any?
How long is the video tour I did of it? Because that's the answer.
So it was in and out quick.
I was like, whoa, this sucks. I'm out of here.
You never got curious and went back after they did some upgrades to it?
Pocket Camp is like all the most vapid things in the Animal Crossing series and none of the substance of Animal Crossing. Hey, I'd really like to come be a part of your little campsite, but you don't have any furniture I like. Go get the kiddie couch and I'll come. I was like, what? It seems dumb. Like, I don't know.
I think the one thing that because I had gone back, I had stopped playing it. I did the same thing. Fired it up, played for a couple hours. I'm just like, this is not for me, and I shut it down. But then I went back about a year later, and the one thing that I did like that I thought was kind of cool was they had kind of like you had your own garden per se, where you would grow flowers, but then people could come in and water the flowers, which would raise the ability for them to possibly become hybrids and things. So it would be kind of cool if you could have like a community center of like flowers where friends could come in and like take care of your stuff to some degree to help elevate what that flower could become or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's there's so much that they could potentially do, but I'm just curious what we could do, what we can't do. Now we know that there's 8 people that can be in a town at once. Do you think there's going to be, and do you think it's going to be like a locked gate all the time, or do you think there's a thing where you could say like, hey, I want Roger to come in anytime he wants to unlock for Roger, and Roger can show up anytime, or do you think it's going to be the way it was?
No, well, are you saying that I wouldn't have to be playing the game myself at the moment when Roger came in, or?
I think we're going to have to do that. I don't think he's going to be able to just show up whenever.
Right. But
like
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, no. But if you're online, what I mean? Like if you're on, do you feel like you have to literally go open the gates to let him to let anybody come in, or you think you can unlock certain people to be like, you don't need to get permission, you can just show up when you want?
I think that by adding them as your friend, that is giving them permission to come into your island. Mm-hmm. But I do think you're going to have to go talk to somebody probably in that little building on the docks to say, hey, pick people up or whatever. And I think the reason for that is it's a gameplay reason, because there are some things that you'll be able to do offline, but you can't do them online. Mm-hmm. So like in New Leaf, there were definitely, I can't remember specifics, but there were things where it's like, oh, okay, I know why you have to tell the game to be in online mode. Okay. Like the game seems to have an online mode where it knows what's going on, it knows to be ready, and then there's the offline mode where more different things can be happening. So I think that's probably comes down to that. So yeah.
So do you feel like we're gonna get with Harv being there? Do you feel like it's gonna kind of be like a campsite type thing that what do you think Harv is in charge of?
Harvey did, he had the campsite with the RVs in New Leaf. There does not seem to be any RVs. How would you get an RV on a deserted small island? I don't know.
We're on the island. I mean, we don't know that he's on an island per se. He could be like the shore.
Well, maybe, I guess, yeah. There are a lot of islands on the horizons of this game. Did you ever look on, like in the gameplay, you can see a lot of islands. So that's another reason I believe you will be able to go to other islands. I don't think that's just a visual thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it does seem like it's a campsite. There are like various. He's got like a log cabin, and I think there might have been tents in that as well. I have no idea. I do believe they will change it, though. I don't think he'll just be what he did in New Leaf.
Yeah.
I am happy by that because I didn't like how the holiday characters would visit any time of the year in New Leaf. Like, it could be July, you go over to the campsite, and it's like, Jingle is there. And it's like, no, it's not fun to see him out of season. Those holiday characters are special because you don't see them for an entire year, and then you finally see them, and it's like, oh, it's Jingle. But when you bring them to the town multiple times a year and out of their season, it just didn't seem appealing to me at all.
Yeah.
Kind of ruined a bit of the holiday for me.
I got you.
I hope they don't do that in New Horizons.
Now, I know you're on record to saying that you love amiibo cards. They're the best thing that ever happened to this game.
I am on record.
I know. No, you actually call it cheating, and
it is cheating.
Yeah. Do you
cheating yourself?
Do you feel like there will be amiibo functionality in this game?
I don't think there will be, for two reasons. Mm-hmm. The most logical reason is whenever there's amiibo functionality in a game, they stick that logo on the box art, and there is no logo on the box art.
That's true.
And we have seen the box art.
That's true.
I don't know. Does it have a rating on the box art, or does it say rating pending? I don't know. But either way, I think it would have been on the box art. Yeah. Unless they're trying to be sneaky and purposely not show it. But I don't think they would do that. I think they would have shown it.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that they don't want to do amiibo functionality out the gates just because what amiibo meant for New Leaf was you could bring anybody you wanted in at any time. And I think
cheating.
And I think what they wanted to do was to kind of get you to, kind of like with Pokemon, the new Pokemon game, where they didn't give you the ability to bring in all your old Pokemon. They were like, hey, go experience this game for what it is, meet the new animals that are in Animal Crossing, and then maybe 6 months to a year, then you can bring the cards in and do whatever. But I don't know.
I think that the stigma around Animal Crossing and Amiibo is very bad.
Yeah.
Amiibo Festival is not a game that many people remember fondly, and I think Nintendo knows this. They were literally selling them for $1 in some stores. The game and the two Amiibo in the game for $1. I saw them for $5 at my local Target. So
that's the best game ever, man.
How do I hang up? So I think Nintendo wants to steer very clear from Amiibo and Animal Crossing. I could be wrong, I could be wrong, but I think it's just, they kind of did it with New Leaf, and Amiibo themselves they're not a thing anymore, other than like hardcore collectors in Smash Brothers, I feel. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could, sure, but
I don't believe in my gut, I don't feel like they're going to be anything. I feel like
they'd be on the box, I think.
Yeah, well, that's number one, but I don't even think. Part of me thinks they might implement it later on. The other part of me just goes, they're done with them. It's over. It's not something that they want to go back to at all. It's just, I wouldn't mind. I'll be honest with you, though, because I still collect them. I like them just for the aesthetics, like just because they're little trophies to me. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting, the Dodos or CJ or whatever, any of those new characters. Like, I would enjoy having amiibo of those, but it is.
But would you prefer just having merchandise of them? Like, I would prefer a plush of the Dodo as opposed
absolutely,
to yeah.
But
they're going to definitely merchandise it.
They will, but here's the problem, man. This is the thing that pisses me off the most about Nintendo and Animal Crossing is Japan gets everything, and the United States gets like just dribs and drabs, and it's frustrating. I mean, dude, I know that you've seen the pictures and you've watched some tours of the Japanese store. They got so much Animal Crossing stuff in that store, and it's like, dude, we can't get anything in Nintendo New York.
Yeah, Nintendo New York seems like it's a lot of stuff that's sort of more basic.
Yeah.
It seems like just merchandise that you might be able to find other places, a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is the grand opening of the Japanese store, so I imagine that was kind of one of the reasons there was a push for it to be exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like Disney. I personally think a lot of the like coolest Disney stuff actually does come from America, even though there's cool stuff in Japan. I know that, but like, I think when you really look at it, since Disney's an American company, we just get more stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the same for Nintendo. It's just more stuff.
I mean,
but
it's no different than like prime example is the new Switch, right? So the new Switch, they announced it in Japan. They can just buy the dock and the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like, what are you doing here? I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the full thing. That's just what I would want. I wouldn't want just to buy Joy-Cons or the dock. But at the same time, it's like, why do you only let one territory do all that stuff and nothing else anywhere else? It just blows my mind where that mindset comes from.
Well, I mean, it's Nintendo of America is lazy and less ambitious, and also Nintendo of Japan might just be like, no. I think Nintendo of Japan does that a lot. No.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That is the mother company. That's what Nintendo is. They're a Japanese company, and I think that they just sort of say, no, we don't want to produce that many of them individually. Yeah. We really want you to push the system, so no.
What? So, okay, here's my question to you. Because when you play New Leaf, you play any game, Gracie Grace will show up, right? And she'll just be like, hey, you have to do these tasks to woo her into your town, usually. Do you feel not so crazy as Gracie Grace, but do you feel like that's going to kind of be how we get different people to come in, like Brewster and Blathers and stuff? Like, do you feel like they're going to come one day and just be like, man, I would really like a museum or something, and then like you have to go build it or start to do stuff? Or do you think it's just going to be like you get to go to Tom Nook and be like, I want this now, and we just bring it in?
No, I think there will probably definitely be conditions that need to be met to get to certain things. There might be a little bit of like a fork in the road sort of a deal where it's like, hey, we could build a museum or we could build, this, and you can pick. But yeah, I think they'll probably follow along with kind of what they started doing in New Leaf, which was, like the Club LOL.
Yes.
You went around and you had people sign the petition or whatever, and then you got it made. I think it'll probably be like that. The character will show up and, something like that.
That's pretty cool. Because that's the thing that I'm, like, in my mind, I'm thinking there's things that I want out the gates, but I know it's not going to be there. And it's like in my head, I keep saying like, "Oh man, what do I got to?" And I think that's why I'm so curious why or when we're going to get a direct. Because I'm saying to myself like, "Man, when are we going to see like when will KK Slider show up or when will Isabelle show up?" And I'm assuming Isabelle is kind of like an assistant type role again. But, like, I don't think she'll be there day one. I think you're dealing with Timmy and Tommy and Tom, and just how it is.
I would be willing to bet Isabelle shows up in about a week. Okay. If you look at the box art and you are obsessed and crazy like me, you will notice that the body language of Isabelle is very telling. Because Isabelle is like, I don't know it offhand, but I know she's like showing the character where to go. It seems like she's greeting Fuchsia the deer. Like Fuchsia the deer is just getting on the island and Isabelle is like guiding her to the island. So I think Isabelle is going to more or less be in charge of like the welcoming committee. Okay. And you'll talk with her about who gets to come to the island or where they're going to move or stuff like that. So I think Isabelle will kind of be like the people person or like animal, whatever. But that seems to be like, if you look at the box art, she seems to definitely be guiding this new character who looks, and like Fuchsia's expression is like she's excited by all the new stuff around her. So I think Isabelle is going to be doing something with that.
So of the new animals that we know are coming, CJ is the one I think is kind of intriguing because we've dealt with Chip all the other times. So sometimes when a new character like this comes in, it makes you wonder, like, how big of a role do they have, or what are they doing? Like, do you feel like CJ just replaces Chip altogether, or do you think he has a different capacity?
Well, again, Bobby, I was at Chip's funeral just a week ago, and this is very insensitive.
Would you stop?
No, yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, I personally feel like it's not very intelligent design to be like, let's just put new character models in the game, but they'll do basically the same thing as the old ones. It's not really advancing the series. It's just swapping out characters. And CJ pretty much looks like Chip already. Same fur color, and he's got a lot of the similar things. So I would hope they do something different. Going back to the box art, though, obviously CJ or whatever his name is, he's on the box art. Yeah, and Wendell, Sahara, those type of characters do not traditionally appear on the box art. So my speculation is that CJ might be a character that is permanently on the island in some way. And that's why he's substantially in the middle of the box art. So maybe he does have a little fishing hut on the beach or something like that. Because why? I mean, it would be like putting Sahara front and center on the box art. You wouldn't do that. She just shows up every now and again. And you know what I mean? Like, they don't usually do that. And it wouldn't make a lot of sense to focus on that one character.
You're right. I mean, maybe like what you, because that's one of the things. We'll kind of discuss this a little bit. One of the things that Josh brought up in a make-believe episode was he wanted a fishing hut there where you could buy different fishing poles and you could get different bait and different tackle and things like that. And the
missions, challenges every day, weekly challenges, daily challenges.
Yeah, all that stuff combined. Maybe that's what his position is. Maybe Chip just shows up once a month to do a fishing tournament.
To do some other kind of thing, yeah.
That's interesting.
I think that's the best route, too, because then it's like, maybe not everyone, but I really love Chip, and I really love Joan, and I like Nat, and those characters obviously have different versions of them now, it would seem. I'd be kind of bummed out if they just didn't show up in the game anymore, but if they showed up occasionally as like a more special kind of appearance, I think that would be a perfect balance of, hey, we got some new stuff going on, but we didn't throw away all the old stuff that you liked at the same time.
Barry Dunn, Impact Game Station Live. He's staying in the chat, and I want to hear your opinion on it. I know what my opinion is, and I think you're probably the same. Why didn't Nintendo make Animal Crossing New Leaf HD for the Wii U? It would have helped with sales, I think. Continue your progress on the Wii U and vice versa. Would have been the best Animal Crossing ever. Would you have wanted that?
I think that at a certain point in time, Nintendo internally knew the Wii U was not going to be a success.
Yeah.
I think that they probably around 2014, 2015 said,
done.
Okay, we're kind of done with this. So in order for them to have started that project of porting New Leaf to the Wii U, it would have had to be probably around 2014, 2015. And I think that probably would have been to the point where it was too late. They've never ported an Animal Crossing game before. I mean, I guess City Folk, some people would like to argue, was kind of a port of Wild World, but I disagree. I think it was definitely a new game. So I think it was just that. They don't traditionally port Animal Crossing, and probably too late to really save the Wii U, and they were probably just,
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't have wanted that. I would have wanted something fresh and new to it. The other thing for me is that, like, man, once Mario Kart 8 hit and once Smash hit, and that didn't save the Wii U, because that's where Nintendo put all its eggs. In their mind, they felt Smash, Mario Kart, those are always the system sellers. We will turn it around with these. When it didn't work, they shut it down.
I think, those games did sell very well.
Yeah.
I mean, Mario Kart 8 did sell like many millions of copies. It did very well. But at the same time, it's like how many copies a game sells is one thing, but then how many systems did it help move is another.
Yeah.
And, those, let's say, 7 million people that bought Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, half of them might have already owned a Wii U, maybe even more of them. So, it maybe didn't push it. And so at that point, they might have just been like, and also New Leaf was still relatively new, let's say 2 years. It came out in 2013 in the US. So it would have been like a year or two after it launched. And, doing a port that quick would have monopolized the sales for the 3DS version.
Yeah.
And the 3DS was like their golden child. They don't want to mess with that at all. So taking an exclusive away from that and putting it on the dead system.
Well, because also at the same time when they both came out, when the Wii U and the 3DS first came out, they both were DOA. Nintendo did that huge price drop on the 3DS and then started hitting it with games. Animal Crossing was the one game that just took off like a juggernaut, man. That thing just exploded on the 3DS. So I don't think that they would want to pull that momentum away at all. But I will say this. There was many conversations that I had different time when I was married with Tony. And the one thing that me and her would constantly say was, man, I would love to just play Animal Crossing on the TV right now. And then and then we even said, it'd be nice to take the 3DS and go to Disney. Because when we go to Disney, that was a nice thing. We could take our towns with us, continue to do all the stuff you do daily, and then go enjoy Disney World. and then come home and you're still kind of in the rhythm. It would have been nice to have it, and now we have that with the Switch. It's pretty...
You were at the most magical place in the world, and all you could think about was video games, Bobby?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Because that place isn't open all the time. There are times when
it is if you hide in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, listen, I'm not looking to get
We
locked
wants
up.
the redhead. This is what I just kept doing. And they never found me.
Yeah, okay. Peter Pan. Okay, so real quick before we wrap
up. Why is
Brewster
yellow on your shirt? Oh, it matches the rest of the colors of the shirt?
It's like red and maroon and all that
Okay,
stuff.
I see. I didn't see the other yellow.
It's supposed to be like a poster of KK Slider performing at the Roost.
I see. I see.
Yeah. Don't call out my clothing. Real quick before we wrap up, is there anything else that you're looking forward to with this game that we haven't good God, touched on yet?
Geez. Well, we did touch on the shoes. I'm really curious about whether or not not just shoes either. I want to be able to put patterns on things, my clothing and whatnot. I think the game looks gorgeous. Like, I'm really happy.
Yeah.
It's dark in here. I really like the game's art style, because with New Leaf, I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked good, but it seemed like they were trying to figure out, what does Animal Crossing look like in modern times? Like, how do we make Animal Crossing look better? And I think one of the things they were trying to do with New Leaf was they were sort of adding like shaders and bump mapping and details, but they weren't doing it extremely well. So like the grass looks kind of messy in New Leaf. Looks a little dirty, looks kind of chunky on the edges and stuff. And so now that they have the power of the Switch, they're able to go back to that really simple looking art style, but make it really pop and look beautiful because of the engine that it's running on. You know, the lighting and the shadows and they got Fresnel lighting going on and stuff. Like, if you look at night in the night scenes and you're by the tent, it like legitimately looks like there is a light in that tent.
Yeah,
it's not.
Right.
It's like a really great looking light. It looks realistic, and so just the lighting and the shadows do such a great thing. And of course, they do have like some normal mapping and some spec mapping and stuff, and it just looks really great. I mean, oh my God, Bobby, the wind in the trees.
Yeah, dude.
I love that, and that
know.
it's not just wind in the trees. It's like, oh, it's really windy today, or it's still gentle wind, and I'm so excited to see what they can do with the weather now. You know,
that's what I was gonna say. I can't wait for a storm, because I used to love like the thunderstorms and stuff, and like the thundering and lightning and all that. And I can't wait for that with this game. It's gonna be awesome when that happens for the first time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, do you feel like it was a good move then? Because in theory, going into E3. Everybody thought like, hey, we're going to get this in September. They delay it. We get it.
Did we see? I don't even remember when it was originally scheduled.
It was just scheduled 2019. There was a lot of just rumors and assumptions we're going to get it. Because Nintendo hadn't slated their whole lineup for the rest of the year. We still didn't know when Luigi's Mansion was going to launch. We didn't know when Link's Awakening was coming.
Did Luigi's Mansion 3 have to launch, though? Did we need that game?
No, I mean, I liked it.
I'm the one person that doesn't like that.
I can't believe. Well, I know why you don't.
That's
like
a whole nother podcast.
You like the
We'll
first
talk
one.
about that on something else.
We'll do Luigi.
Minion humor, ghosts wiping their butt on the floor. This is what I wanted in Luigi's Mansion. Butt jokes.
Anyway, listen. Jesus. So
my Luigi's Mansion needs more fart jokes, guys. That's gonna make it better.
So we thought a lot of people were assuming September was going to probably be around when we got Animal Crossing. But it didn't. It got delayed, and it got pushed to 2020. Are you happy that it got delayed to when it got delayed to, or would you have preferred
I gotta see the game.
Huh?
I feel like I gotta see the game. If it's still like kind of lacking and it doesn't feel like it's a finished game, then I won't be happy that it got delayed, because I'll be like, what did you guys do?
Yeah.
But if the game is just loaded with so many things, then I will definitely be happy. I also like the timing a little better, I think. You know,
That's what I mean.
2020, we got a new decade going. March is just before the springtime.
Yeah.
So I think the timing is a little better. Yeah. So.
Because that's the thing. I mean, you've played long enough, and you know that, like, I always felt like going into that, like, launching it where they were going to, or in theory where people were saying, was bad news. Like, you have like a month of decent gameplay. But you hit the wintertime, other than the holidays, it's not really that great. Like, there's no fish to catch, there's no bugs to catch. It's kind of bland and boring.
There's fish and bugs to catch?
Not that much. Come on.
Sure there are. You go to the tropical island, Bobby.
It's going to be winter.
Which, by the way, was not balanced, because the main way you'd want to make money in New Leaf was to just go to the island at night and get the bugs.
Yes.
So it was like you knew that's all you wanted to do. Like, It's like, oh, why bother getting bugs? And I'll just go to the island at night and get those stupid bugs. I spend an hour just going around the circle, waiting for them. And I felt like that's not really well-balanced gameplay.
No, you're right, because I would go fish for sharks, try to catch beetles, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back, sell them, and I'd have...
And in your own town, it was like, oh, why bother? Why bother trying to make money here? I'll just go to the island. It's just a waste of my time. So I hope they don't do that. I hope they balance that out a bit more.
So you touched on this real briefly early on, and we didn't really dive into this. Pun intended, I guess. The diving. You think that's coming back? You feel like that's definitely going to be there? No.
How could it not? Is my question.
But my question is, do you feel like how far do you think we go out? Like, can you feel like we could take boats out, or do you feel like there's a limit and that's it and that's where it is?
Oh, there'll probably be some sort of limit, of course.
Of course,
yeah. It won't be like Wind Waker size of going around. There might even be. I think in New Leaf they had like little buoys where you could go. So maybe they'll have that kind of a thing, but just way further out and stuff.
I think the weirdest thing was when you dove out at the island, and you realize you could get almost behind the store, and it was like, this is crazy. I didn't think you could be able to get back there. Like, you can, and it's like, this is different.
I like that idea. That's a really fun idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Being
able to dive.
But do you enjoy the diving, or were you just like, eh?
The implementation made sense within the logic of Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were literally seeing what was under the ocean, that would be interesting, and it's doable, but that's a lot harder to work out, because you got to keep it feeling like Animal Crossing, and you don't want to, so I think the way they did it in New Leaf was good. If they wanted to change it up to where we can literally see ourselves diving under the water, that could be maybe cool, but I enjoyed it enough. I liked running away from the little jellyfish getting stung in the butt by him. I enjoyed that.
Oh boy, only you.
I have to have a swig of this urine, if you'll forgive me.
Oh, but you stop. You are a mess.
Pee.
You are really. I know it's getting cut out of this show. Anyway.
No, it's orange juice.
Exactly.
With pee in.
Thanks. All right, so Josh, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate this.
Anytime.
You don't have nothing else. The floor is yours. You don't have anything else to elaborate on.
Well, in the last half a month, I lost 11 pounds.
That's pretty
amazing. With Wii Fit.
That's
with Wii Fit.
That's good stuff.
Working on Halloween specials already for this year. Christmas specials. Very excited about it. There is a very large model of Luigi's Mansion on my kitchen island right now.
Is it really?
I finished recently, yeah.
Nice.
Took a lot of work. That's being used for the Halloween special, among many, many other things I have to build, but I've been doing that. But Animal Crossing, I'm very excited about.
You're very creative. I will give you that. You do some creative. And for those that don't know, go check out Josh's YouTube channel. Seriously, the BitBlock. The creativity of this guy is unparalleled. I feel on YouTube. So, and he is available on Instagram at JoshyPants86. He doesn't have. God.
Why don't the girls look this sexy in the game anymore? Why did they have to make them ugly? Look at this. This is the ideal woman.
Oh my lord. Anyway, that is all. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. Thank you very much. Next week, we'll have Chewy Plays Nintendo on.
Was I the first in like a long lineup of people coming on?
Last week I had Alex Van Eken. You're the second one, and we have a guest every single week until Animal Crossing launches.
So I'm not the grand finale, and I'm not the kickoff of the parade.
No,
I'm the float that's like
you're like the part that gets people fired up.
No. I know how Disney parades work. You start off with the big float, you end with the big float, and then the middle's got a big thing, and then the things on the side are like whatever. I got it, Bobby. I see.
The problem is, Josh, is you don't like to answer your Twitter or your Skype very quickly.
Hard to answer a Twitter I don't have. But...
Exactly. I'm tweeting at you, and I'm like, yo, where you
Weird.
at? Why aren't you answering? Anyway, check the podcast out. Anywhere podcasts available, Spotify, whatever, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. That is all. Peace out, Preston.